Ooh, what's up, Internet? My name's David Webb.
I'm Marielle Edwards.
We get nerdy nightly.
And we thought we'd share it with you.
We are having truly the time of our lives right now as we are on our 87th attempt to record this podcast.
Truly. And you know what? It started off well. I was like, oh, this is going to work. And then everything has just gone wrong. But here we are.
And the reason why this has been an adventure is because we wanted to pull out the red carpet and do something special. We wanted to go above and beyond what we've done in the past, because for the first time in Nerdy Nightly 2.0 history, we have a guest, star of the stage and screen. If you're Canadian, you might have seen her on 1,000 seasons of Letterkenny. If you're a nerd, which if you're listening to this and you're not a nerd, how did you find us? What happened? You might have seen her in the Star Trek Short Treks, an episode of American Gods, some other very nerdy things. We're talking about Sash Striga.
Yeah.
That's me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's here.
Ariel's best friend.
Yeah.
In the flesh.
Henceforth, that's what you shall be known as.
Henceforth on my resume, Sash Striga, Ariel's best friend.
Do you have any special skills on your resume?
I have several special skills on my resume. One of them actually I stole from Ariel.
What is it?
Oh, this is fun. Remember at your, I think it might have been the same birthday that you threw out popcorn twists? When which we were just talking about off podcast for a good reason.
Oh no, you can talk about that on the whole reason. Look, Star Trek is great, but the reason you're here is to tell me funny stories about our
Listen, I'm multi-talented. Quadruple threat, really.
Truly.
No, and your mom made us all have a talent show. Do you remember this? And she got everyone all gathered around, and she was like, "We're having a talent show, and Ariel's gonna do her special talent." And we were all like, "Okay, what's her special talent?" And she gave Ariel a glass of water, and she's like, "Do it." And Ariel's like, "I really don't want to. This is my social standing. I'm gonna be bullied. Yeah, Sarah's gonna be mean to me
on a podcast in 20 years.
On a podcast in 20 years when she's no longer known as Sarah and is known as Sash."
Yeah. It's very confusing.
It's very confusing. And anyways, so then she gave you a glass of water and she got you to gargle the national anthem in front of everyone, and she thought it was the
coolest thing.
Most incredible skill ever. And so I
don't understand what gargling.
Do you not understand how it's a special skill?
No.
Because it's on my resume now.
What?
Is it hard to gargle a song?
No, it's not. But see, that's the thing.
It's like singing with water in your mouth and like gargling. Like, you know when you gargle with Listerine and you like.
Yeah, but isn't that just humming with water in your mouth?
Yeah, so you hum the national anthem with.
Ariel could always do a demonstration.
I could not.
She could always do a demonstration.
No.
If I'll make it a subscriber goal on my Twitch that Ariel will come
in. No.
Gargles the national anthem. Yes.
You can't make me. You're not my mom.
Thank God.
Quite literally. Yeah. So that's on my.
Have you ever been asked to do that in an audition?
No, but I have had people say, "Oh, what is that?" And I've had to be like, pay me and you'll find out. Like, book me and maybe I'll do it.
Yeah. You got to pay for that.
Yeah, that's the premier content level. Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna start an OnlyFans that's just me gargling songs.
When I first started dating my boyfriend, actually, and he was in England, I sent him a video of me gargling England's national anthem.
You did not.
I did, and
of course you did.
Of course I did, and I'm so amazed that he loves me and wanted to stay in a relationship with me. And also, we weren't really dating at this time. We were just sort of like seeing each other. So I sent a guy I wasn't even dating a video of me gargling the English. Wait.
God Save the Queen?
Yes, that.
There you
Rule
go.
Britannia.
Thank you very much. And in a very high key. So it was.
Oh, wow. You spiced it up a little.
I am a soprano.
Yeah. So. I know that. Very aware of that fact.
In some instances, that is impressive. Gargling the national anthem is I don't know. At least you'd be hydrated. You wouldn't dry out your cords.
Yeah, no, it's a good.
True.
No.
Wow.
True. Singer's tip. Yeah, that's.
For all the singers out there, anyone that's following from musical theater, gargle the national anthem. Put it on your resume. You'll get booked.
Yeah, because I've booked so many jobs.
Have you put it? Is it on your special skills?
No.
See, that's the problem.
That's your problem.
Well, all right, I'll call my agent.
Please do.
Like, hey, look. Actually, when I told my agent that I was like a Twitch streamer, she thought it was the coolest thing. She's like, we have to put this on your resume, and I was like,
yeah, for sure.
Okay.
It's like saying it's like influencers of the internet. Wait, well, that's what influencers.
Yeah.
Cut that last. Scratch that last.
No, we don't make cuts in this podcast.
Oh,
I don't edit.
Great to know.
Yeah, so everything you say will be immortalized on the internet.
That's 100% also not true.
No.
But I'll only cut out anything that makes us look bad.
Oh, so pretty much everything that comes out of my mouth.
No, nothing that makes Ariel look bad. Sorry, anything that makes me look bad.
Okay, but what about me? Can we cut out things that make me look bad?
You're gonna have to send it through your publicist.
Okay,
yeah.
I will. Yeah, I'll get my agent. My agent will get in touch with your agent.
Of your agent, then
yes.
I'll cut
Okay,
it
I will.
I'll
get her on
been
it.
Released, just so that like the first, opening day people get that special content.
Ooh, yeah, that.
Yeah, the uncut version.
Yeah.
God. Hey, that's a thing. People love that.
People pay for it.
It's like,
For uncut things?
No, it's like, when Cats was first released and how much of a nightmare it was, and then they tried to save it by like fixing some of the CGI.
Oh, you mean like cat buttholes?
Yeah.
Well, no, they put out the original version of Cats was only in theaters for 2 days.
Yeah.
And then a patched version of the movie came out.
No way.
Yeah, because I saw it opening night because
as you do
of course
with
I
everything.
Did. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Cats, but I like movies.
Yeah.
It's weird how the world works. So I went opening day and I was sitting there in utter disbelief at how messy it was, especially from a CGI perspective. Like, there were like times where people's hands were just their hands and not their cat hands.
I would say at least most of the movie where people's hands were just their hands. It was
no, because maybe you saw the original.
Maybe,
but so we watched it recently,
which was
a couple months ago.
Wild,
and it was a much cleaner CGI version. Judi Dench's wedding ring wasn't there and stuff like that.
Hilarious.
But I wish I'd seen the butthole cut. That's the one they should have put out.
I think that I personally would have purchased it if there was the butthole cut.
You would have paid money for it.
I would have paid more money than I did pay to watch it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I just think that's like, that's history.
That's history.
History in the making, and I want to be a
witness. This.
I want to be a part of that. I want to be in it.
Yeah, it's rare to find a movie it's rare to find a movie with a significant budget that is as ill-conceived as that one.
No, I actually 100% agree with you. Yeah.
And I admire it in a lot of ways. Because there was a point where a group of people were like, what if we just went for the craziest possible version of this? And enough people got on board with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I have admiration for the attempt and for the swing. If you're going to swing, swing big is like a thing in our industry. People are always saying that.
Yeah.
And they did. And then it was everything after that, I feel, that went...
Yeah, at some point, somebody should have said, okay, wait a second.
Yeah.
No.
I think it should have been at some point when they were watching the choreography and being like, oh, we're not doing cats
See,
anymore.
but you know what? It's interesting that you bring up the choreography because I honestly feel like that was the only redeeming bit of the movie, that and Taylor Swift, because I am the most hardcore Swiftie in the world. Oh God, we are going to be best friends one day.
I believe that.
Squat up.
I'm going to squat up. We're going to have like a Bad Blood 2.0. I'll be in it.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Like,
anyways,
swing big.
Exactly. Swing big.
Absolutely.
Thank you. But I found that the choreography was actually the only redeeming part of it, really. I just thought that the dancing was beautiful. I'm so happy that they hired a professional ballet dancer for the role that is historically the most dance heavy in the musical, and that's fantastic. So 10 out of 10 for that, because there's way too many times that does not happen.
I just found the dancing, and not to make this a Cats podcast, but
I think it should be a cats podcast.
It is now.
We just talk about cats every week for the rest of our lives.
I like cats.
I found like Jenny Annie Dots was like a movie version of that wasn't the thing. She's the tap cat. And
Yes.
then Skimble Shakes became the tap cat. And then there was no ball. If you don't know the musical Cats, everything I'm saying now
sounds like
nonsense.
garbage.
Because I also don't really know the Cats musical very well. Like, I obviously know of it because, you know, it's whatever. It's,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But that's going to sound really good as well because it's, you know. But we're going to cut all of that out.
No, that goes
No.
on.
Okay. Oh, guys.
If it's not like
My
going
agent's
to
gonna be
offend
so
anyone,
mad.
it stays in.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
It's the thing I love about podcasts is in the long format, it just gets to be a little bit more genuine and a little bit less like we have to cut this down to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So true. Very true.
You get like a real idea of like who the people are that, you know, are having a conversation.
Yeah, which is nice.
It's, and it's one of the reasons that I think I've been really enjoying it actually. But
I feel under-researched for this podcast because
okay.
I did not realize we were only going to talk about cats, and I don't have any like fun facts about the movie.
Listen, I'm more than happy to change the conversation from cats.
let's, you know,
But like, as much as I've enjoyed it, thank you so much for having me. I do have to go.
Well, we have
not what I signed up for.
you have
not
been
on my
here
rider.
for 3.5 hours to try and record a 60-minute podcast.
I have,
true.
yes, yeah.
So moving on from cats, the train
My
wreck.
passion.
Sash. It's so weird calling you Sash.
I know.
Because I know you as Sarah, but you know, we're just gonna we're trying.
Pushing through it.
I don't know. Introduce yourself. Tell us a fun fact.
Yikes. Hi.
Oh, you're very good at this.
Thank you. I should be an interviewer professionally.
Great at putting her best friend on the spot is what she's professional. Great at putting her best friend on the spot for sure. Okay. Hi, my name is Sash Striga. People pronounce my last name wrong all the time. That's a fun fact. And people call me Sasha all the time, which I really can't blame them for because Sash is, you know, not as common a name as Sasha.
Yeah, but if you're reading it,
who?
also Sash is a word. Like it's not like it's not a word. It's a type of belt, I believe. What's a sash?
A sash?
Well, or it's like a
like
pageant.
fabric.
It's you know, in pageants when they wear the little banner thing, that's a sash.
You went nerdy and you thought
I'm
like
thinking
sash,
of like Diablo.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
The first belt that you get in Diablo is a crude sash.
Yeah, it's literally like a strip of fabric tied around like your waist or something.
Yeah, that's also a sash.
It is.
Multiple definitions for sash. One of them so happens to be a Canadian actress.
Yes.
So
and that's the one that I am.
Like, I want to be like the thing you win in a beauty pageant.
You know, no, but that honestly doesn't sound that far off from something I would choose.
That's
Sash actually happened really authentically. My legal name is Sarah Ashley. So when I was in Young Canadians, I had a dance partner who would call me Sarah Mustachely because one time on stage I got a piece of hair stuck in my lip gloss across my face and it just looked like I had this mustache and neither of us could get it off my face the entire number.
Classic.
So that nickname just kind of happened. And then it got shortened to Sashley. And then I went to college the first time because I just apparently love going to college. And
Doesn't.
who doesn't? And my friends there shortened it to Sash and it stuck. And then I went to Toronto and it was my nickname. And we had like 3 Sarahs in my class of when I was taking acting. We had 3 different Sarahs. So it was like, I'm not just going to go by Sarah S, right? Like my nickname's Sash, so I'll go by that. And then it just, at that point, it was just who I was. Everyone knew me as Sash. No one knew me as Sarah anymore. So just kind of stuck. So I'm happy it came authentically.
Yeah. It wasn't one of those names that you wrote in your journal when you were 12. That you thought would be your stage name.
If you bring up my fake stage names right now, ooh, this friendship's over.
I don't know what you're talking about. What were you going to say?
My fake stage name was Jake Webb for a year.
Right.
I went by Jake Webb for a whole year in middle school.
Wow.
Or like, no, I think it was like my freshman year of high school, maybe. Yeah. Rough.
I have never gone as anything other than Ariel Edwards.
Well, I did try
Except
to make...
Clara Strakaris, I guess.
Well,
yeah, true, yeah.
But that's, my Twitch handle. That's not my stage name.
I do love, so even that story goes back to Young Canadians, which is fun because it's a thing that the three of us all share. We were all members of that performing arts program. What influence do you think the Calgary education and the arts had on your life now? Because you grew up, you were in the Youth Singers, you're in Young Canadians. How do you feel those programs, starting you off at a young age, really influence you as an adult performer?
I truly don't think that I would be a performer if I hadn't been enrolled in it when I was at such a young age. Like Youth Singers, for example, was where I really discovered how much I love to perform. It wasn't necessarily about technique in Youth Singers, you know. It was an after school thing. It was something my parents put me in to stop me from going on stage every time there was a stage available, and you know what I mean. And yeah, so that's kind of where my love for performing started. And then it wasn't until I was in, I guess, grade 11 maybe, of when I went and joined the Young Canadians, which was it's a much more intense program for anyone that's not, you know, familiar with it. It's a much more intense program. When I was a part of it, when we were all a part of it, it was a free program. So it was like, the training was crazy. When I look back at it, we were in those studios for so long. It was
we did, like, on normal weeks, it was 3 days a week for like 5 hours,
5 or 6 hours after school.
Yeah, so 3 days a week for 5 or 6 hours,
not including Saturdays and Sundays. So it was like Tuesday, Thursday, wasn't it? Tuesday, Thursday,
Sunday.
And
then when they added the performance development program, that was an additional Saturday class. Yeah. And then when we were in rehearsals for shows, we were there 7 days a week.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's wild. I remember, because I was for the boys in my time, we had gymnastics on Saturday, and we had lift nights on Thursday nights. So I would be at Young Canadians 25 hours a week. On top of schoolwork, on top of, I was in the Mount Royal
Vocal Academy
with Ariel. Yeah. And so, I remember those days just as a blur. And I talk with my family now, and it's funny because they're like, yeah, you left in the morning, and then you got home at like 11:30. Went to bed and got up and left again, and my family was like, we never saw you.
No, it's actually crazy to think about, like, for someone so young to be involved in that much training. It's really the kind of thing that you either realize that it's just a passion, or you realize that it's your life. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's, when you're in it that much and that intensely, there's no way for you to just decide, like, oh, I'm just going to do this casually. Like, you're in it, you know? And especially Young Canadians, for people who don't know, it's, when we were a part of it, it was an unpaid, like, we didn't have to pay to be a part of it.
It was a scholarship program.
It was a scholarship program. So also getting accepted to it was really difficult.
Yes.
Especially because that amount of education is not affordable for any family.
I would not be anywhere I am now without it, because I wouldn't have been able to afford 25 hours of training.
Yeah, absolutely.
In several different disciplines. Yeah. But yeah, no, so I think that's probably how it all impacted me. I'm so grateful to both programs, unbelievably so, because I really wouldn't have been, I don't think I would have chosen to pursue it if I hadn't.
Yeah.
So you finished that and you went to broadcast school.
Yes.
And what drew you towards broadcast school, and then what drew you away from it? Like, how did you end up back in acting after you made the jump to, some people call, like, a real career?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that, obviously, as someone who thinks my career is real.
No, of course, yeah. So when I first went to school, it was right after I'd had a year off from high school. So I took a year off. I performed with the Young Canadians for that extra year. And then I was going to go to school in Lethbridge. And unfortunately, and I wish I could say with all my heart that this wasn't a deciding factor, but there was a boy. Because there was always a boy at that age, and he, you know, it wasn't the best relationship looking back on it, and it was one of those, like, I want to follow him because I'm gonna marry him forever, and here's, you know, plot twist, did not happen. But anyway, so I truly chose to kind of give up performing, mostly because I wanted to stay close and be around home still for that reason, and also because I always was interested in journalism. But I think I truly think if I hadn't been in a relationship at that time and tried to organize my life around it, which I do not, encourage anyone to do. Do not do it. Just have your own life, do your own thing. The right people will find you. But, you know, when you're young, you make silly mistakes. But anyways, yeah, no. And then when I was there, I realized that I was really miserable. Like, my program was pretty abusive. Like, the professors were quite something. And I just realized I wasn't happy unless I was performing. All my news stories that I ever chose to cover were always like, this performance is happening, or this person's coming, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was when I realized that that was literally my only interest, that I was like, I need to go give this a shot. And if I don't give this a shot, I'm gonna kick myself.
Yep.
And thank God I did, because you know what I mean? It's worked out really, really well. But if I hadn't finally found the me that wanted to be heard, you know what I mean? I know that sounds so woohoo, but you know what I mean? If I hadn't listened to myself, I would have been stuck in, you know, somewhere doing some job I didn't like, but I decided to take a chance, and it paid off.
And so what was taking that chance? What was that step that you took?
Auditioning for performing arts schools. So after I graduated from Lethbridge College, I had a choice of either going into the industry full time or going back to school. I also was young when I graduated high school. I think I was 16 when I graduated, period, or I just turned 17.
You would have just turned 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So still quite young to go into a program that was so short and come out and expect to get like my career started. It was just something that I didn't feel necessarily ready for. So I applied for performing arts schools. I was accepted to all my picks, and I had to make a decision where to go. And I just had a feeling that Toronto was the right place to be. And so
I like to think it was me, but that's fine.
It was definitely impacted by that's where you were, 100%.
I'm like, no, Sash just wanted to like follow me to Toronto.
I needed to stalk you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah. And then I stalked you to the school that you graduated from.
Yes.
Like the year after she graduated, I was like, well, if Ariel was here, I want to be here too. I'm like smelling the hallways for her hair. I don't know. Like a sniffer dog.
That took a nosedive.
I know. I'm
It took a
so
weird
sorry.
turn. I feel very uncomfortable
I
right
am
now.
so sorry. I didn't mean to make anyone uncomfortable.
It's
No,
fine.
it's fine. You
I'm
know
not
what?
uncomfortable.
Let's.
And that right there is what matters.
Well, I need a minute, so let's take a minute with our sponsor. Do you like that segue? And when we come back,
beautiful.
we're going to talk some Star Trek.
Yeah.
And we're back
Hi.
with Sash Striga.
The star of Star Trek Short Trek, Calypso.
So you found your way to that sort of through the things that you were doing in Toronto before that, right? So you graduated school and then you booked a show pretty quickly.
Yep.
Letterkenny.
Yes.
Which is the show that you're still on. So this is like your like
8,000th season.
8,000th is a little high, but it's been a while. Yeah, it truly has been the gift that keeps on giving, and I'm so grateful for it. It's, oh God, they're all the best. They're just the best, you know? Yeah,
Yeah.
such a good set environment.
I really love that we just managed to bring that show up organically, despite the fact that we've had a full conversation about it on the first attempt at recording this podcast.
Hey.
Bonus materials.
We're very honest about our process here.
You know what?
We love to talk about, if you haven't listened to our episode, Who's the Daddiest of the Daddies?
We
what a
tried to
mess.
record that podcast 4 times.
4 times.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we
It's,
just ended up being like, I said this on a previous edition of this.
Yeah. Hey, we make it work. You know, we're
We get there in the end.
we are performers. You fake it till you make it.
Exactly. You fall on stage and you get back up.
Yeah.
You lose your shoe and you keep on
Your skirt falls down.
dancing.
And you just keep dancing with it around your ankles.
all
That
things I've
sounds
experienced
so-
in my whole career.
So when you got Letterkenny, were you thinking like, oh, I think television is the thing I want to do, or were you thinking more theater at that point? How was your mindset at the time?
When I got Letterkenny, I loved it. Like, it was, here's the thing. So with me as a performer, I've always loved to sing. I've always loved to dance. I've always loved to act. But I've never really loved musicals. Does this make sense? Like I've never been a crazy musical fan. Like I've never known all the songs. I've never been super excited for the album. Like I love to go see shows, but I also don't, it's not, I'd prefer to sit at home and watch a movie. I've always preferred my entertainment to be consumed via TV, film, that whole side of the industry. So I've always loved that side of the industry more than I've loved musical theater, but I just always loved to sing and dance. So I didn't know that there could even be them combined. So when I did Letterkenny, it was a moment of me being like, oh, wow, this feels really good. Like, I really enjoy this. And what I love about film, and it is the same in theater, absolutely, because it seriously takes a village to put on, as you guys know, any show, anything. It takes there's a million people behind the scenes that you wouldn't even know of as an audience member. But what I find so special about film is that your job as an actor is truly like the smallest job. You know what I mean? Like it's so unbelievably humbling, because when you're doing a musical or something, it's like, oh, everything's lined up for me to make my debut, and then I'm singing this song, and it can be, I find sometimes it can feel for me a bit indulgent. And in film and television, I don't feel that same level of indulgence, because there's just so much going on at every moment. And there's a million different people, and up to the very last second, you know, it's just, it feels like much more of a village scenario even than theater, even though theater is obviously a million people. It feels in a way more intimate. And I think that was my first experience of feeling that energy and realizing how much I loved it. And then after that, I went straight into a theater contract. So, but it wasn't actually until about a year, actually exactly a year ago. Wow, like this week, exactly a year ago, that I had like the craziest week of like the craziest month of my whole life as a performer. Like, oh, it was insane. I'm so grateful for it. But it was just, so pretty much what happened is I had booked a theater show. So I was doing a show out in Grand Bend with Drayton Entertainment. And Rocky. So I did Rocky the musical, and then I also did a panto. I did Jack and the Beanstalk. So we're doing Jack and the Beanstalk, and during Rocky, I had got news that they were bringing my character back again for Letterkenny. Psyched. Obviously, I was so happy. I love being brought back. Like it feels like a second home, really. So when I got that news, but I was already on a theater contract, I was like, oh, shoot, I'm not going to be able to do it because I'm booked in advance for 8 show weeks. I have 1 day off. My Monday is my 1 day off a week to do it. And somehow production was an angel and everything worked. And they found a way to make all of my filming days happen on Monday, which was my dark day. Yeah. So
you're so grateful, but at the same time you're like,
oh my god,
what is my life for months?
For 1 month it was like, oh, this is gonna be a very long, difficult in a way month, but also it's gonna be great. But the extra bit is that it was also a remount of Jack and the Beanstalk. So we'd done the show, we'd put the whole show on before. We'd had about 3 months off, I'd say, and then we had like 2 or 3 days to remount the entire production. So I would be remounting, doing these 12-hour tech days as you do in theater. And then I'd have to drive out to go to Sudbury to film, which is where we film Letterkenny. But the issue is the drive from Grand Bend to Sudbury is about 9.5 hours. So I would be finishing a 12-hour tech day. I would get in the car. Thankfully, my boyfriend is just the most incredible creature that's ever graced this planet because he drove me. He came from Toronto and he would come every Sunday and he would stay with me, and then we would drive all the way. He would drive because I would a 9.5 hour I wouldn't have been able to do it, honestly. It wouldn't have been safe. So he came and he drove me a full 9.5 hours to Sudbury. Every Sunday night, I'd get there at 3, 4 in the morning, sleep for an hour or two. My call time would be 6. I'd film all day, you know, and you know how film days are. They can be 13, 15, 17 hours. Like, it's, you know what I mean? At a time, you're just like, I've been awake forever.
Yeah.
But it's you know, it's what happens, right? It's just the way it goes. And then I would drive 9.5 hours back to Grand Bend to do a 10 a.m. show. So it was like so much happening that I did, you know what I mean? But it was incredible. It was the highlight of my whole career life so far, because especially being able to do them so closely back to back, there's such a comparison there that it really makes you realize exactly what you love, what you aren't crazy about with each process, because every process is going to be different, you know, like filming a TV show is very different than doing a theater show. Like polar worlds apart. So doing that was really nice, because I actually got to compare that and say, oh, I actually really love doing this show. Like, I love doing, I love Letterkenny for sure, but I just mean acting on camera. I was like, this is, wow, I sit in here, you know, it's in my pocket. I feel grounded. And then I would go and do the show, and I'd have to get back into my body, and it would take me longer doing a theater, doing the run. Like, it would take until like show 4 for me to finally feel like I was back, versus when I'd step on set, it would be like, I'm in.
Yeah.
So at that point, I knew that my passion, as much as I love both, I had to focus on film for a bit more.
Okay, I feel like we have discussed everything but Star Trek, and Star Trek is going to be the thing in the
Descriptor.
title. Yeah. So you were on Star Trek.
What they want.
Yeah, give the people what they want.
So you were on Star Trek.
I was on Star Trek.
How was that audition process?
Audition process was interesting. All audition processes are interesting.
They're always different. It
was really fun. I did a tape. I was out doing a theater show in Calgary. I think I was doing Legally Blonde. I think I mentioned that. And
in the podcast that is
not
available.
Oh yeah. So in the podcast that's not available that you guys missed out on, I mentioned
it might
that.
be on Patreon, so like go be a Patreon.
Yeah, so maybe go be a Patreon, and then you can hear all about Legally Blonde.
Yeah.
Anyways, I did my audition tape, and I sent it in, and when I got the breakdown, I was freaking out because it's Star Trek.
Yeah, totally.
And it's interesting. This is probably a fact that people don't really know about filming high. What's the word I'm looking for?
Science fiction?
Not science fiction, but TV shows that are popular. A popular show, or you know what I mean, something people are really interested in, and there's would be a lot of leaks and spoilers about. So what they usually do is they'll for the breakdown, even they won't really tell you what it's for. Right? So like I knew that it was for Star Trek, but I had no idea what it was going to be. I had no idea which actors I would be with. All it says is like with a high profile, you know, person of blah, blah, blah. And it has a code name and everything that you know, that you have to submit it under. And it's like, there's all these like, you know, there's all these different kind of things to keep it secret, which is great and has to happen. And that's why NDAs are important.
Did you have to sign an NDA to get the audition?
No.
Because there are auditions that I've done that I'm not allowed to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like for like 15 years and things like that. Like it's wild.
Yeah. I haven't had any like that I can remember, unless I'm just really lacking on my NDAs. But yeah, but it was interesting. So I knew what it was for, but I didn't know anything else but that. You know, so you're kind of left to the figments of your imagination, and then you're getting excited and you're looking at the cast list and you're like, oh, what if it was with this person? Like I would be so nervous. I don't think I could do it. And like you're psyching yourself out before you even get the job. And it's such a weird thing that actors do. We like find out what it's for, and then we like look up everyone involved, and then we psych ourselves out and we're like, well, I can't be next to that person because they're incredible. And I would just like be crying the entire time. And it's like, just do your audition.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll book the job. And when you book the job, then we'll deal with that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah, and you never know like who's going to be in the scene with you.
No,
like you might be like, oh, you're gonna be on the shuttle by yourself. We're just gonna record you in a dark room for a few hours. And you're not gonna see another human.
Yeah.
Very, very possible.
Or you're going to be on a green screen. Everyone else will be put in later, and look at this tennis ball.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, there's so many different things, but with that one specifically, I just remember not really knowing what it was all about, but still doing my best to do what I felt, would be doing justice to the character and everything, and worked out really well. They called me. My agent called me, and I was freaking out.
Yeah.
And I was so psyched. Me and my friends in my dressing room, my good friend Bracken, she was playing Elle in the musical that we were doing. We shared a dressing room, and I told her I'd sent in the self-tape, and she watched it, and she was like, you know what? You're going to book this one. And I was like, don't say that to me.
Don't ever.
Do not
ever
say that to me. And she's like, no, you're booking it. I will bet you $10 that you book this.
High
And then
I
was like, great, sure. And I still haven't paid her. I should probably pay her because she bet me $10, so I would have to pay her $10.
Oh, I don't understand how betting works. Yep, you're right.
You're never going to a casino.
No, I can't.
No,
I don't have any money.
That's right. I don't.
That you need money to start. You can't start with zero money.
That's true.
And go up. You have to
true.
bring money to.
I know how betting works as well.
They definitely make you give them money and stuff. It's quite rude, actually.
Yeah.
It's like,
Why
just
do
give
goods and
me
services
money.
cost things?
I don't get it.
Wild.
How dare?
Don't they know actors are broke?
Yeah.
Don't they know that we work on exposure?
Yeah, I have these exposure dollars.
Yeah, could you?
Can you accept these?
You don't
I
accept
have
exposure?
It's like
so
Canadian Tire
many
money.
exposure dollars.
Yeah.
But I have a bunch of likes on Instagram. Do you accept those? No.
Yeah, I can.
Some places will.
Yeah.
That's actually
That's
true.
true.
That's actually a true fact.
Wild.
Anyways, what was I saying?
You did your best.
I
and
did my
Bracken
best.
called it.
You owe her $10.
I owe her $10.
You owe Bracken $10.
I've-
And now it's on audio forever. She's gonna
I've
be
owed
like,
Bracken $10 for about 2 years now, and I should.
and you got that Star Trek money. Like, you should be able to pay her $10.
And I didn't. I haven't. I should. I will text her after this, and I will Venmo her $10.
Like, oops.
Those big short film dollars. What's wild to me whenever I talk about like TV and film, and because I've been working for 10 years in New York now, and I've done a lot of really cool, wonderful things, and I'll tell people who aren't in the industry about them, and they'll be like, oh man, like you must just have all this money, and I'm like, no. that paycheck from that gig I was waiting for, so that and I needed that paycheck to come in at the right day so that I could pay my rent that month.
Yeah.
Like,
Truly.
Yeah.
and there's definitely a level where you start to have a lot of money.
Yeah,
but,
of
you know,
course.
it's-
Well,
it's
with
not-
anything, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
The understanding of what the financial situation for most actors is not there, especially when I talk with my family or things around like Thanksgiving. They're like, oh, so you probably like you're set for the year, and I'm like, no, I did a day on a TV show. I made $1,000. It was great, and I bought too many drinks for my friends that night, and now I don't have that $1,000 anymore.
Yeah.
So you play the physical embodiment of the ship,
I do.
Zora, and you are a dancer representing that.
Yeah.
So was your tape audition a dance piece?
It was.
Did they send you choreography? Like or was it like improv for 8 bars?
No, it was more the latter. I will not be divulging too much of that, but it was definitely more the latter.
Fair.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I always love those. They're truly my favorite when they're like, hey, we need you to figure out what it is that we want,
Yeah.
but we're not going to tell you.
Yeah.
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 And you're not getting paid for this audition, but we need you to do that work for us.
That's the true fact.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, actors do a lot of unpaid work.
Are we starting a labor union on this podcast?
Absolutely.
Are we starting the new ACTRA?
Hey,
Yeah,
I
after-
would love to be union. So like, if we can maybe start one, I think I have high hopes.
Is there a union for Twitch affiliates? Should we
let's
start
make one.
the TAA
Twitch Affiliates
Association?
Association, sure.
Yes.
Okay, so you get the call and you're going to do Star Trek. What was what was that day? Because how many days of filming was it?
Oh, it was actually a fair amount of time filming. I think. Oh, it was. Oh man, I'm gonna let you guys down. I can't remember exactly how long it was, but I know that there was a lot that went into it. Like I think it was a good 2 weeks of work.
Oh wow, yeah.
But as it is, especially with the nature of what Aldous and I were doing, it's obviously you have to choreograph that. So there's going to be rehearsals for that. Then there's so many costumes. My dress, oh my goodness, the costume department, they killed it.
Yeah, it looks
10
incredible.
Out of 10 costume department, like that was incredible. I had quite a few fittings for that dress, so they made it from scratch, and it was custom made for me. So it's fits me
like a glove. Yeah,
it fits me like a glove. It was incredible. It was such a beautiful experience actually to be a part of crafting such a legendary piece. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And you said that your co-star was incredible to work with.
Oh, mind-blowingly incredible. Like he's the best. I don't know if you guys have Aldous is incredible. 10 out of 10 Aldous. Yes, you're
awesome.
the best. Yeah.
So how did that filming process work? Were you guys like on did you get to film in the bridge set, or was it all digital? Because you're digital
on set. I'm digital. So that was actually a really interesting part for me actually after it all came out, because I'd never seen myself digitally, obviously. So yeah, so we filmed it all in person, Aldous and I doing the dance sequence together, and they added the digital aspect after, but all of that happened on the bridge set, and that was the craziest moment.
Wow.
Like that set is out of this world. Out of this world. You know, I
literally
it is quite literally out of this world. And
so they nailed it.
Yeah, my breath was taken away the second I stepped on. It was shivers were going up my spine. It was magic.
Yeah.
Pure magic.
And so now you're a part of a legacy of an IP that has, a genuine like impact on the world.
Yeah.
Star Trek is I think 50 years old now.
At least, yeah.
At least. And how have you felt being, obviously things have probably changed for you online with that community finding you. How do you feel like you've kind of integrated into that part of it?
It's been nothing but a gift, honestly. Everyone's been fantastic and so supportive, and the fandom is incredible. They're truly incredible people, and some of the messages I've received they're just so kind.
Yeah.
They're the kinds that you like print away and put in a binder to bring out when trolls are mean to you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is also another part of the industry that will happen at some point, right?
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? So but there's been nothing but love, and it's been so rewarding.
Yeah. And some of your fan art has been awesome. I was like, whoa.
Oh, I know.
Like,
some of my fan art's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of my fan mail is wonderful, and it's just it's really cool. That was my first time experiencing being a part of something so much bigger than myself. And the way that everyone treats you when you're a part of this bigger family is just so nice. You know, all of a sudden you're this like, I don't know, this character that people have associated with and are a part of their passion. It's really, really magical. It was really cool.
Well, and you kind of exist in a weird space where you are the ship that you embody within the episode exists within the show, Star Trek Discovery. Yeah. And so you are in a way tied to, you are the physical embodiment of that ship in its own mind.
Yeah.
Which is such an interesting, knowing the fan community and knowing the way that fan fiction and things work, there are people who will write their fan fictions with you in mind. And you're going to be a part of, and some of those will be very, very weird to read and very fun with friends. I love fan fiction. I can't wait for someone to write fan fiction about us. It happened. It's probably already happened, honestly.
Okay, sure.
But you fairly early in your career, you're getting to step into one of those larger things.
Yeah. It's you really hit the nail on the head there. It's just obviously when I did the audition, I didn't know the extent to which my character existed, because you don't get the script, and it's not until you book it and it's further in that you get to read the whole thing and see where you fit in and see what the pieces are. But when it clicked, and especially when it's when Aldous looks at Audrey Hepburn, the the hologram of Audrey Hepburn, and he's like, no, I don't want to dance with her. I want to dance with you. And Annabelle Wallis plays this beautifully. She plays the voice of Zora. And when she has that moment of kind of realizing it's safe to explore what she would be if she could be human, and just that, what she would be, her dream creature that she would be is me. I'm like, what? Me? Are you sure? But yeah, so it's just that moment especially, and it just had such like, when you're on set sometimes and something magical happens, there's this like tingle in the air. It's like electricity, you know what I mean? And when that line was said, and when I do my reveal, and it's just there was this tingle, and it was really cool.
Yeah. It's a really special moment in the episode for sure.
Was she on set doing those lines, or was it just?
No, we had another actress on set doing the line. She was incredible as well. She was oof, wow.
I love when it's an actress, but I also kind of love when it's like a line producer who's not acting, who just has the script in front. And they're like, all right, so when Dave over there says the line, you're gonna go off of that, and the guy's like, so I love you a lot. And like, you just watch actors go from there.
Yeah, no,
movie magic.
It was it was really done well. They brought a really, really talented actress on, and her emotional depth and connectivity to the material was superb, really.
Yeah.
I think what really impressed me about the short as a whole was the genuine like connection that you feel between him and what essentially is like an Amazon Echo.
Yeah. An Amazon Echo.
Well, but
Alexa.
It keeps cutting to that circular thing above the door where her voice vibration diagram moves. I don't know what to call that.
Yeah.
Where the sonogram moves. I don't know.
A sonogram.
Isn't that like a sound? Never mind. The physical representation of sound is the.
I thought a
I'm doing great
sonogram
here.
was what you got when you're pregnant and you looked at the child.
It is. I don't.
So
sound waves.
So I was really impressed with the Amazon Echo relationship. I don't know. I thought it was I just really loved it. Up until the last line about the lover line at the end of the episode, which I thought was really, really just beautiful and a great moment.
If you were my lover, you would give me my name.
Give me my name.
Yeah.
That so just the way in which the short anthropomorphized Zora, even before it literally anthropomorphized her by putting you in the film. It was really lovely. It's a beautiful 20-minute piece of art.
Yeah, it's what's really exciting about that short specifically was that it feels like the promise of a new future. Like it feels like the beginning of another generation. You know, there's just something about it that just has so many beginnings to it.
Yeah.
And I love that it leaves you with that sense of like, oh wow, I feel deeply moved by this, and like again, Aldous, like again, I'm just gonna give him props because he deserves the world of props. But the reality is that Aldous is acting that entire scene alone.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like he's having a conversation with, again, like brilliant actress, but it's hard when you're not having that connection to someone else saying the lines in front of you.
Yeah.
So his performance in that is even more superb because of all of those factors that you don't really think about unless you are an actor. And
yeah.
And it's interesting to me that something like this would never have been made be without the reach that Star Trek has. Like the reason this is able to exist is because the Star Trek show exists, and so the set already existed, and there weren't those like financial impediments of like, oh, we have to build this whole thing from scratch. They had an infrastructure, and I think what I'm really loving about what Star Trek is doing with this is these short treks and all of these, the animated show that they're doing. These are opportunities to give different kinds of art a opportunity to be seen by a larger audience through an IP that puts it out there and makes people interested. There's elements of this short that are a little avant-garde filmmaking, and
Totally.
the opening shot of Betty Boop is such a like odd. I was even like, oh wow, this is a really weird way to start this, and it laced its way through the short in a really beautiful way. And I just felt like, oh, it's really nice to see this giant company with this giant IP that makes $800 million movies. Be like, you know what? Let's take the time and the resources to make sure that we keep growing new talent. We give young directors opportunities to make things, because a lot of these short treks are made by people who've never, and I would love to see more of that kind of opportunity being given to people.
Yeah.
I think giving young directors, oh, we really like your first feature, here's $200 million to mess up something. It sometimes works out, obviously, like it worked out with the guy who made Spider-Man Homecoming. But especially with the calls for diversity and things going on, I would love to see opportunities like this being given to young directors of different backgrounds, to give them a chance to get real credits and like get out there and see their work in a way that will get seen beyond a short film festival in Houston. Like those kind of things can be a little difficult.
Yeah.
And it's just, I really, really love that Star Trek is putting its brand into the next generation of filmmaking in this way.
For sure.
Yeah.
What I think is so special about the Star Trek short treks is that they're so vulnerable in a way, because they don't have to follow the canon of everything that's happened in the previous season. There's a certain freedom to really explore these characters and explore their backstories, where they came from, why they came from. Like Calypso, that's it's a question mark of future, what happened. Like there's so much to your imagination, and like these are the things that, and it's like you say, because it's already exists in such a strong, amazing way, that they can explore these themes. But I just think that's why I'm especially so grateful to be a part of that, because it was like exploring a whole world in a way that's really intimate. It just felt intimate.
With everything that it brings up, the 1,000 years, like all the wars, it doesn't take any time with those ideas.
Yeah.
The short is like, those are interesting in another thing.
Yeah.
But in this, we're just going to focus on these two scarred individuals who are both literally and figuratively carrying the weight of their pasts with them into this relationship, and how the ship helps him move out of that, or move beyond that, and into the next phase of his life, because she's stuck, she can't.
Which is also such
Tragic.
a heartbreaking notion.
Oh, truly. Yeah.
It does play with that. I think what was really interesting is me as an actor playing that part and not having lines, because my role in it was a silent role.
Yeah.
But yet I'm embodying all of the history.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was a very interesting acting exercise for me, because I didn't get to express myself with my words.
Yeah. Totally.
All I could go on was, this is everything that's happened, and now I've appeared, and like how vulnerable would I feel? Like, this is the first time I'm revealing myself to someone, and like, do you like it? Do you like me?
Yeah.
Am I okay? And then it's like having that connection, like what Zora's hungered for so long, and it's it was a really interesting acting exercise for me about how to portray all of that with just my body and just my movement, just my facial expressions, and just be true to everything that's happened.
Yeah, I love that the idea of her evolving herself over the last 1,000 years is the idea of her becoming very human.
Yeah.
Like, because she says, I've been evolving myself. And like, I find it very interesting that, that's the direction she went, because it could have been like calculated, cold, robotic. I love that idea that they threw in there, that over the last 1,000 years she's evolving herself, and that has led her to closer to humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting, the choice to have, because the single tear that rolls down your cheek is such an interesting idea, because she would know that he can't see it, and it's not like she has to like tell her programming to create the hologram video for a tear to go down your cheek.
Or there's the question of if what's perceived as her new humanity is overridden that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, but I just mean that it would still be like it's still code, the tier, like all, so it's the idea that like it doesn't matter that he can't see it. It's not, I just love that
It's
it
not a
wasn't
performative action.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
absolutely.
There was
yeah.
no like, it didn't feel like she was trying to convince him to do something with it.
No.
It was something that she felt she had to do
Yeah.
because of how she was feeling in the moment. And that made it more like, oh, I was like, oh shit, that she has feelings.
Yeah.
Like, that
Yeah.
feeling is real.
It's a moment of being like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it drops in. Yeah, it gave me shivers thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I didn't know what to expect because I have not seen any of the other short treks. This is the only one I've watched. And now I'm like, oh, like we need to spend the time to go watch all
They're
of these
great.
because I really, I was very moved. I thought, you know, short film is such a hard form of storytelling. And when it's done well, it packs such a punch.
Yeah.
Because a feature film is a lot easier in a lot of ways just because you have the time to build characters and things like that.
And connect with them.
But, you know, you have to sit with the different scenes. You have to sit with different aspects of it. And the audience has to be okay kind of with all of it to enjoy it.
Yeah.
With short films, you have a very, very short amount of time to make a lot clear. And this one really, really succeeded in that.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't waste time. You know, like you said,
no waste of
they mentioned some things and they were facts of this that we accepted and that, you know, we understood influenced how the characters got here. But yeah, there was no like fat to trim. It was very streamlined and I think they did a really good job actually.
Yeah, it was some incredible writing.
Yeah.
And some incredible direction.
Yeah, it was it was very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, your first Fan Expo Comic-Con, you're getting us tickets, right?
Yes, for sure.
I mean, hopefully we'll have media badges. We'll be there officially as Nerdy
Oh, as
Nightly.
Nerdy Nightly.
Yeah.
Got
And
it.
then we'll get the
How about you
exclusive
guys are just
interview
my
with you.
like official reporters?
Done.
We only cover
You
Sash Striga from now on.
only cover
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Only me. That's
You're gonna
it.
have to like you're gonna have to have like a weird acting career then where like you give us plenty to talk about because we have a weekly podcast.
Yeah.
We stream for like 25 hours a week. Like we
That's
need
all right.
content.
And
Listen,
it's
we
all
could do-
nerdy stuff.
We need a nerdy video game that we can play that's just like you living your life.
Just me like walking like Sims, but just like Sash.
Yeah.
I think Kim Kardashian has one.
Oh,
There's like a
God.
Kim
She
Kardashian
does
mobile game.
for sure. Yeah,
What?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not even get
Let's
into that.
not.
I can't.
So what is your nerddom?
My nerddom is Harry Potter through and through.
Yeah.
Do not condone J.K. Rowling or any of her
Yeah,
actions.
that's
Disclaimer, absolutely not.
I think
Pack it in.
I've literally started like, there's things that I talk about that I'm like, I just go controversy noted.
yeah.
Just to be like, I know it's
you're like,
there, but like, there,
The thing
Yeah.
is that the reality of my relationship personally with Harry Potter is that yes, J.K. Rowling was the creator and she created a beautiful world. Mm-hmm. But this sounds weird, but this is kind of my feelings of interaction. It's like the first time I'm watching it or reading it, I'm interacting with J.K. Rowling's world. The second time, the third time, the 18 millionth
1800,
time,
yeah.
as I have read them inside and out,
Yeah.
it's no longer her world. It's become mine, if that makes sense.
That's actually
know?
a really interesting point because I honestly, in a way, feel like the world of Harry Potter is almost the community's.
I agree.
well, and you know, John Green, the author, was asked like, do you read your own books? And he was talking about it on his podcast. He's like, I don't really, because I don't feel like they're mine after they're published. Like they're mine until I can change them. And then once I can't change them anymore, they're whoever's like, they're not mine anymore. And I think that it's, you know, I think we're in a really interesting place right now discussing death of the author, not literal death, but like,
Yeah.
at what point does the author no longer have sway over how you feel about the work?
Yeah.
Because it's tough to read any American or English literature from any period of history without realizing that the people who wrote them were probably not great people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Catcher in the Rye wasn't written by a saint.
Yeah.
And so it becomes tough when it's the most popular thing in the world. And it's the most pressing, one of the most pressing topics of our time. Trans rights are, you know, it's a very important discussion going on right now.
Very.
And to have a person who wrote a book that is essentially a treatise on being nice and not mistreating people and
know.
accepting people.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It is wild, and it's the disconnect. Happened? But you know what? And this is kind of my thing, and this is what I've always said. It sounds really sad. I'm just gonna say it, but it's sad. I don't have I don't have idols. I don't believe in them. I don't truly 100%
like as a person.
But even as actors, directors, writers, etc. You know, people ask me a lot. They're like, "Who's your dream director to work with? Who's your dream, scene partner? Who's your favorite actor? Who's your favorite actress?" And I'm like, I can't answer that question because I do not know the person. I can say I loved X person in X movie, and I love the way this person directed this, and I love the writing in this. But for me to say, oh, I really want to work with them, why am I setting myself up for failure? Not as in I won't work with them, but when I do work with them, what if they don't meet my expectations I've already put on them?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'm a big believer in looking at the work and accepting it for what it is. And then if someone proves you wrong later, I don't know. I don't really buy into the idol philosophy.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I think when I think about who I want to work with, a lot of the time it's who do I want to work with again? Who have I worked with that, because the truth is my favorite experiences have not always been on the best projects or on the most budgeted projects. And honestly, the best work that I've done is probably not the highest budgeted work that I've done. That is not always a connected idea. And sometimes you're working with someone whose work you love, and you realize that the way that they get it to be so good is they maybe don't treat everybody in the room very well for the actual creation process.
Exactly.
And it does make it very tough. But I think that, going back to your point on the Harry Potter community, I think it is, because we're recording this podcast close to when we put out the Harry Potter Bakes video.
Yeah.
And, when we were having the discussion of that, it was really, J.K. Rowling has a problematic idea about the world that we don't agree with. But we have 20 plus years of real world interactions with people that aren't her, that are based on a mutual love of this book, and she cannot take away those relationships and that feeling. And yes, it will make things like supporting future things that she works on a thing that I'm not sure I'm going to do.
Well, I 100% won't.
We don't have to go see the next Fantastic Beasts movie.
Which would be the most problematic film ever. Ezra Miller, J.K. Rowling, and Johnny Depp all connected to the same project is
please, let's...
Yeah. So,
but
we'll be doing that.
I think the Harry Potter community, and the Harry Potter fan community in particular, is a thing that I've experienced my whole life.
Yeah.
And there's so many memories in it, and not one of them is J.K. Rowling actually a part of.
Yeah.
And I don't want to lose that just because I find the woman's opinions about people that I love
deeply flawed.
Yeah.
I think for me, the reason I love Harry Potter so much is that for a while, Harry Potter was my only friend. Harry Potter, Ron, and Hermione, they were my only friends. I was bullied when I was a kid, and everyone's been bullied at some point, but let me tell you, I had it rough.
Well, I was about to be like, well, you went to this school, and then I was like, maybe I shouldn't do that.
Yeah, maybe we'll just not. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I had it really rough, and I would every single night, literally every night after school, I would go home and I would watch Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Every single night.
Yeah.
Without fail.
Yeah.
Because it was the only thing that made me feel okay.
And it was a big bonding thing for us too.
Huge for us.
I'm also huge Harry Potter buff. We did Harry Potter trivia nights together. You know what I mean? That's been a huge connection in our relationship.
Exactly. It's I wouldn't have my best friend. I wouldn't have, honestly, probably any confidence if I hadn't watched it. Because, I was watching Hermione and being like, well, people bully her, but she's strong and she's, and she doesn't let them do that to her, and she's really smart and clever, and I'm going to be smart and clever. And it's if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Totally.
So screw you, J.K. Rowling, for every horrible thing you've been saying lately.
Yeah.
But I do love you, Harry Potter, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Well, and I've definitely felt very consoled might be the wrong word, but I'm going to go with it. by the movie side of the Harry Potter community, the actors and the directors, and like they've all come out against what she's saying.
Yeah.
And so it makes it it's not perfect.
I'm like, thank God.
But it is nice to see that there are people associated with that thing that I love so much who are publicly saying that,
Absolutely.
Daniel Radcliffe's what he put out, the statement he put out through the Trevor Project, I thought was particularly nice to see. To see Harry Potter himself be like, hey, remember when we made that thing about how like bullying is bad and thinking that you're better than others is bad, and have you read the books that you wrote lately?
Yeah, for sure. I think at some point it becomes more than the person that wrote it. And I think for me, it's the first time it's about J.K. Rowling. Every time after that, it's never been even remotely tied back to her.
Yep.
So that's kind of my view on it. Willing to be wrong. Love being corrected. Love learning.
Don't we all?
No, truly, I love to learn. So if anyone, has anything to say to make me think otherwise or enlighten me to a perspective I haven't seen before, go ahead. But that's,
No, I totally get that.
Please, we're all in this to learn.
Yeah.
We're all deeply flawed human beings just trying our best.
Truly.
Hopefully with fewer flaws than we used to have.
Yeah.
Well, that's the key, is that you go forward in life and you hopefully are
you're on an upward trajectory.
Yeah, every day you're becoming more understanding and compassionate and empathetic and loving, and that's the hope.
Yeah.
The hope.
Yeah.
Some days I'm like, I think I have a few more flaws today than I had yesterday. But then,
But then it's because you're like, I'm hungry.
And then I'm like, it's because I'm intermittent fasting.
Yeah. It's an intermittent fasting and I'm sad.
It's because it's 12:15 and I haven't eaten yet today because I'm not allowed to eat for 15 more minutes.
Yeah, seriously.
Are you allowed to talk about anything coming up, or is it all like...
Well, here's the sadio deal is everything coming up is no longer coming up.
Right, COVID. It's a pandemic.
Well, but I don't know.
True.
I ask in case I want good news.
Yeah.
I just want someone to bring me good news.
Yeah.
We all, and I'm awaiting. I'm awaiting for the good news, but in the meantime, I'm happy to just exist in the now and be grateful for my health and my friendships and spending time with my family and having a minute to breathe, because it's truly been a crazy 3 years for me. So it's also I'm just trying to take everything day by day, and if just feel it all out. My motto is to be gentle with yourself. That's kind of my go-to thing. It's gotten me through a lot of dark times. Just be gentle with yourself. So it's like, if you need to be sad today, be sad, but tomorrow give yourself a little hug and go on.
Yep.
And so that's kind of how it is with career at the moment. It's a bit like, all right, absolutely. And a little unemployed, but we're good because tomorrow I might not be. Who knows? COVID might, hopefully something will happen.
Yeah.
Hopefully when you're listening to this, listener, it's all over. And
that's all we can hope for.
I highly doubt that we're going to save this that long, because we're probably going to need to put it out at some point if my surgery happens. But if my surgery happens,
it will.
Not problem. Just a light throat surgery. I feel like now it's like, wait, are you okay?
We're getting those tonsils out.
Just a quick in and out. Where it's an in, tonsils out.
It's an in, tonsils out.
If you saw the hand motions I went with it would make sense. It was like,
It's a shame the video aspect of this podcast did not work.
Yeah, because I have some quite intriguing hand motions as I talk, I've realized.
Well, I think that's a great sentiment to end it on. I love the way that you're looking at the world. Where can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram at Sash Striga, SASHSTRIGA. And that's pretty much it, honestly.
Yeah, your website.
My website is sashstriga.com. If you want to reach out, I have a little reach out button on there. You can just send me a little quickie email.
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I got that going, but I'm not really on anything else. I don't really do the Twitter.
Yeah.
Don't really do the Facebook.
That's fair.
Do the Instagram. I like to stay off the internet as much as possible. So I only have one social media channel.
I am jealous.
Yeah.
Because we live online.
We do. Yeah.
It's definitely easier to find us because we are at Nerdy Nightly basically on every possible platform imaginable.
Yeah.
You can also find us on Twitch. I'm at Nerdy Nightly.
I'm at Clara Strakaris.
And yeah, I would love to say that we're on Twitch this week or things, but I actually don't know when this is coming out, so who knows? Twitch might not exist by then.
I'll probably at least be on. You know, you might be not able to speak for 2 weeks, but that's okay.
Oh, that's true. This might be on my hiatus.
But here's the exciting bit. If this is happening on his hiatus, I will be replacing David. I will be doing the podcast and I will be doing the stream with Ariel. Which haven't run past them, but now it's a thing. So
you mean you're not moving to Toronto in September?
Nope, I'm going to stay and I'm going to annoy you.
I cannot wait to watch you stream on Twitch.
I'm really excited to stream on Twitch, actually.
Star Wars Sundays are going to be fascinating with you.
We have to do the thing we talked about.
What did we talk about?
The VR thing with the scary things.
Oh God, no!
Yes,
I want to so badly.
Yes.
Don't worry, I'm brave. So I'll actually get through it. But Ariel's
it's on audio, so it's happening.
Wimpy wimp nugget.
I never agreed to anything. I'm being held against my will. Somebody sent help.
Yes, she is.
All right. Well, I don't know a better way to end a podcast than that. So my name's David Webb.
I'm Ariel Edwards.
Do something nerdy tonight.
Bye.
Bye.